Welcome to aminacademy.com. Let us discuss about astrology and astronomy. Astronomers base their studies on research and observation, but astrology, on the other hand, is the belief that the positioning of the stars and planets affect the way events occur on Earth. Astronomers is yes, Astronomy is a science that studies everything outside of the Earth's atmosphere, such as planets, stars, asteroids, galaxies, and the properties of the relationships of those celestial bodies. Astronomers base their studies on the research and observation, but astrology, on the other hand, is the belief that the positioning of the stars and planets affects the way events occur on Earth. If you are interested in the solar system and the planets, other celestial objects like asteroids and comets, other galaxies, and the rest of the universe, what makes up the space and the possibility of alien life or space travel, astronomy is the field you are considering. The moment of the seven objects that had the power to wander through the realm of the sky, that is sun, moon, your five planets visible to the unaided eye, clearly must have special significance in such a system of thinking. Many ancient cultures regarded the planets or and stars as representation or symbols of the gods or other supernatural forces that controlled their lives. For them, the study of the heavens was not an abstract subject. It was connected directly to the life and death necessity of understanding the action of gods and curing favor with them. Before the time of our scientific perspectives, everything that happens in nature, from the weather to disease and accidents to celestial surprises such as eclipses or new comets, was thought to be an expression of the whims or displeasure of the gods. Any signs that help people understand what these gods had in mind were considered extremely important. Most ancient cultures associated these seven objects with various supernatural rulers in their pantheon and kept track of them for religious reasons. Now, beginning of astrology. Astrology begins in Babylonian about 2.5 million millennia ago. The Babylonian, believing the planets and their motions influenced the fortunes of kings and nations, used their knowledge of astronomy to guide their rulers. When the Babylonian culture was absorbed by the Greeks, astrology gradually came to influence the entire Western world and eventually spread to Asia as well. By the 2nd century BCE, of the Greeks democratized astrology by developing the idea that the planets influence every individual. In particular, they believed that the configuration of the sun, moon, and planets at the moment of birth affected a person's personality and fortune, a doctrine called natal astrology. Natal astrology reached its peak with Ptolemy 400 years later, as famous for his astrology as for his astronomy. Ptolemy compiled the Tetrabiblos, a treatise on astrology that remains the Bible of the subject. It is essentially these ancient religions, older than Christianity or Islam, that is still practiced by today's astrologers. Next, what is horoscope? The key to total astrology is the Horoscope, a chart showing the position of the planet in the sky at the moment of individual's birth. The word horoscope comes from the Greek words horo, means time, and scopos means watcher or marker. So horoscope can literally be translated as marker of the hour. When sometimes totally casually asks you your sign, they are asking for your sun sign, which zodiac sign the sun was in the moment you were born. However, more than 2000 years have passed since the signs received their names from the constellations. Because of their precision, the constellations of the zodiac slide westward along the ecliptics, going once around the sky in about 26,000 years. Thus, today the real stars have slipped around by 1/12 of the zodiac, about the width of the one sign. In most forms of astrology, however, the signs have remained assigned to the dates of their year they had when astrology was first set up. This means that the astrological sign and the real constellation are out of step. The signs of Aries, for example, now occupies the constellation of Pisces. When you look up your sun sign in a newspaper astrology column, the name of the sign associated with your birthday is no longer the name of the constellation in which the sun was actually located when you were born. To know that constellations, you must look for the sign before the one that includes your birthday. A complete horoscope shows the location of not only the sun but also the moon and each planet in the sky by indicating the position of the appropriate sign of zodiac. What about astrology today? Today we know much more about the nature of the planets as physical bodies as well as about human genetics than the ancient could. It is hard to imagine how the position of the sun, moon, or planets in the sky at the moment of our birth could have anything to do with our personality or future. These are no known phases, not gravity or anything else that could cause such effects. For example, a straightforward calculation shows that the gravitational pull of the obstetrician delivering a newborn baby is greater than that of the Mars. Astrologers thus have argue there must be unknown forces exerted by the planets that depends on their configuration with respect to one another and that do not vary according to the distance of the planets. Forces for which there is no shred of evidence. Actually, very few well educated people today buy the claim that our entire lives are predetermined by astrological influence at birth. But many people apparently believe that astrology has validity as an indicator of affinities and personalities. A surprising number of Americans makes judgment about people whom they will hire, associate with, and even marry on the basis of astrological information. To be sure, these are difficult decisions, and you might argue that we should use any relevant information that might help us to make the right choices. But does astrology actually provide by any useful information or human personality? This is the kind of questions that can be tested using the scientific method. The results of hundreds of tests are all the same. There is no evidence. Really, there is no evidence that natural astrology has any predictive power, even in a statistical sense. Why then do people often seem to have anecdotes about how well their own astrologers advised them? The scheme of astrology has no basis in science, fact. However, at best, it can be described as a pseudoscience. It is an interesting historical system left over from pre-scientific days and best remembered for the inputs it gave people to learn the cycles and patterns of the sky. Testing astrology. More sophisticated studies have also done involved full horoscopes calculated for thousands of individuals. The results of all these studies are also negative. None of the system of astrologers have been shown to be at all effective in connecting astrological aspects to personality, success, or finding the right person to live. You do not even need to be specific about your prediction in such tests. After all, many schools of astrology disagree about which signs go with which personality characteristics. To more sophisticated studies have also been done in involving full horoscopes calculated by thousands of individuals. The results of all these studies are also negative. None of the system of astrology has been shown to be at all effective in connecting astrological aspects to personality, such as finding the right persons to love. Conclusively, we can say astrology is lie. We have done. Please subscribe our YouTube channel.